Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. And today we're going to be talking about a film that I'm sure needs no introduction.
Yeah,
Jurassic
a
Park.
classic.
Absolutely. But we're not just going to be talking about the, amazing dinosaur action and all that.
Right.
We're going to be looking at this film through the lens of this cinematic analysis that we have
Hmm.
and kind of exploring, why it is considered a cinematic masterpiece,
Hmm.
but also a cautionary tale about scientific hubris.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how even, all these decades later,
Hmm.
this film still sparks conversations and debates about, that line between scientific wonder and kind of reckless ambition.
Right. And where do we draw that line?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think a good place to start with that is that really unforgettable opening scene. You would think they would start the film, with like a roaring T-Rex or something,
Right.
but instead we get this very tense velociraptor transfer scene. And the genius of it is that we barely even see the dinosaur.
Right. And that's what's so brilliant about it. I think Spielberg really focuses on the human reaction, that sheer panic on the workers' faces.
Yeah.
It's like he's establishing right from the start that there is this sheer, terrifyingly powerful force at play without even having to show us the full creature yet.
Yeah, and it really foreshadows, I think, that the threat isn't necessarily just the dinosaurs themselves, but like our inability to control them
Right.
and kind of the ethical debate of even having them in the first place, which we see unfold throughout the film.
Absolutely. And to really hammer home those themes, Spielberg introduces this incredible cast of characters,
Mm-hmm.
each of whom kind of embodies a different perspective on the park itself.
Mm-hmm.
You've got John Hammond, the visionary dreamer,
Yeah.
almost childlike in his enthusiasm. And
He is like a kid in a candy store.
Brilliant.
He's got the coolest toy ever, and he just can't wait to show it to everybody.
Right, exactly. But then you have the investors who are understandably nervous about this whole, giant prehistoric predators thing,
Yeah. What could go wrong?
right? So Hammond brings in these experts, these world-renowned paleontologists,
Mm-hmm.
to validate the park's safety.
Hmm.
It's almost like he's trying to convince himself as much as them.
Right.
And among those experts, you have, of course, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler,
Yeah.
are grounded, skeptical scientists.
Yes.
They're cautious,
Yeah.
reminding everyone that, these are living creatures,
Yeah.
not just theme park attractions.
Yeah.
And then you have the rock star of the film,
Yeah.
I think Ian Malcolm,
Yes.
the chaotician who throws out these iconic
They're
one-liners.
going out of style.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
And Malcolm's skepticism, I'd say almost cynicism at times,
Mhm.
is crucial, I think, to the film's message.
Right.
He's the voice of caution, constantly reminding us that life, especially prehistoric life,
Mm.
is inherently unpredictable.
Yes.
And it's here that we get one of the most memorable lines from the film, a line that's almost like a prophecy. Life finds a way.
Chills every time I hear it. And it's not just a cool quote, it's like the core message of the entire film. It's like the movie is constantly whispering to us, no matter how much you think you're in control, nature will always find a way to surprise you.
I love that.
Mm.
And think about how that single line really does resonate throughout the entire film. It foreshadows the park's downfall. It highlights the arrogance in believing we can contain something as powerful and primal as these resurrected dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that idea is as relevant today as it was back then.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we see this in debates about genetic engineering, climate change, artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
It's like that line is echoing through the decades,
Right.
just reminding us that there are forces we can't fully understand or control.
Right. And that brings us back, I think, to the brilliance of Spielberg's filmmaking. The way that he seamlessly blends these big philosophical questions with just jaw-dropping visuals. Remember that first full glimpse of the brachiosaur?
Oh, gosh, how could you forget that scene?
It's breathtaking.
It's breathtaking. The sheer scale of the creature, the way it moves, John Williams' score swelling in the background. It's like you are transported to another world.
You really are. And it captures that childlike wonder of scientific discovery.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look closely, there's also this hint of uneasiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the film is subtly reminding us that even the most magnificent creations can have unforeseen consequences.
Right. And speaking of uneasiness, I think we have to talk about the way Spielberg builds suspense.
Oh, yeah.
He is a master of it. And nowhere is that more evident than in the T-Rex breakout scene.
Right.
He doesn't just throw the dinosaur at us. He makes us wait for it.
Exactly. It's all about the anticipation. The use of sound is incredible. Those heavy footsteps, barely visible at first as ripples in a glass of water.
Oh, man.
Talk about edge of your seat tension.
Yes. And then, bam, there she is. It's just pure movie magic, the way he uses the darkness, the rain, those iconic close-ups to make the T-Rex feel absolutely terrifying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But amidst all that chaos and terror, Spielberg also gives us these wonderfully human moments, these character arcs that really draw you in.
Right.
Take Alan Grant, for example. He starts off as this gruff paleontologist, not exactly a kid person.
You can tell he's much more comfortable with fossils than he is with actual children.
Right.
But then as the story unfolds, his relationship with Tim and Lex completely transforms him.
Yeah.
He becomes this unlikely protector, risking his own safety to shield them from danger.
It's such a brilliant way to add emotional depth to the film. You're not just watching dinosaurs chase people. You're witnessing these characters evolve and grapple with their own fears and responsibilities.
And it ties into the whole overarching message, right, of like scientific progress without ethical considerations.
Precisely, Grant's growing sense of responsibility for Tim and Lex really mirrors that larger question that the film is posing. What are our responsibilities when we delve into realms we barely understand?
Right. What happens when our creations surpass our ability to control them?
Exactly.
Got it.
And that brings us to the stars of the show, of course.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs themselves.
Yes. And the way Spielberg contrasts the velociraptors and the T-Rex is just pure genius.
It's brilliant. He's giving us two different types of nightmares,
Yeah.
basically both equally terrifying. On the one hand, you have the raptors, these cunning pack hunters who strategize and outsmart their prey, all about intelligence and calculated movements.
Like those villains in a horror movie, they just always know where you're going to be before you even go there, you know?
Exactly.
Do you remember that kitchen scene, though? Oh, my gosh.
Oh, so good.
So tense.
So tense.
The way those raptors are stalking Tim and Lex and their breath is fogging up the stainless steel appliances. It's just terrifying.
And the way they work together, too, communicating with those clicking sounds.
Yes.
It's both fascinating and terrifying. And it really highlights the idea that we're not just dealing with mindless monsters here.
Yeah.
These creatures have a certain level of intelligence that we just can't underestimate.
And then you have the T-Rex, the embodiment of raw, unstoppable power.
Yeah.
Just like a force of nature unleashed, smashing through fences, flipping cars. I mean, come on, that scene where it breaks free from its enclosure for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
That roar.
Incredible.
It's just iconic.
And the T-Rex is not about strategy. It's about sheer brute force.
Yes.
And Spielberg really emphasizes that contrast visually.
Mm-hmm.
The raptors are often shrouded in shadows. Their movements are quick and stealthy.
Mm-hmm.
The T-Rex is this massive, imposing presence,
Mm-hmm.
always in the spotlight, impossible to ignore.
It's almost like they represent two different sides of nature, right?
Yes.
Like the calculated cunning of the predator versus the raw, overwhelming force of like the elements or something.
Exactly.
And both are equally terrifying in their own way. But let's get back to Ian Malcolm
Yes.
and his warnings about the dangers of unchecked ambition.
Right.
He's like that Cassandra figure, you know?
Yeah.
He's constantly pointing out the flaws in Hammond's plan.
And he's the voice of reason, reminding us that just because we can do something doesn't mean we should.
Right.
And Hammond's vision for Jurassic Park really perfectly encapsulates that human hubris.
Yeah.
It's all about spectacle, pushing the boundaries of science without truly considering the consequences.
Right. And he's so blinded by the wonder of it all.
Yeah.
He can't even see the inherent danger in what he's creating.
Exactly. And it brings up a really interesting point. The dinosaurs, as magnificent as they are essentially commodified in this film.
Oh, absolutely.
They're turned into attractions, stripped of their natural context, and placed in this artificial environment for human entertainment.
Right. Like, look what we can do.
Exactly. And that commodification, I think, is really at the heart of the film's critique.
Mm-hmm.
These creatures, products of millions of years of evolution, reduced to exhibits in a theme park. It's a stark reminder that sometimes our desire for control and profit can blind us to the ethical implications of our actions.
And it's like the film is saying, hey, you can't control nature, and you certainly shouldn't try to exploit it.
Exactly.
But beyond the ethical dilemmas, Jurassic Park is also a visual feast.
Oh, yeah.
And the symbolism and the imagery is incredible. Like you've got that recurring motif of the mosquito trapped in amber.
Oh, yeah. It's not just a cool visual. It symbolizes humanity's desire to control the past,
Right.
to resurrect something long gone.
Right.
And as the film so powerfully demonstrates, that desire can have unforeseen and dangerous consequences.
It's like we might be tampering with forces that we don't fully understand.
Right. Yeah.
And the way Spielberg uses those environmental cues, like that intense thunderstorm that foreshadows the T-Rex's escape, it's like nature itself is conspiring against the park.
That's Spielberg's brilliance as a filmmaker,
Hmm.
right? He uses visuals not just for spectacle, but to enhance the story's thematic depth. The storm isn't just a random weather event. It's a symbol of the chaos and destruction that's about to be unleashed.
And let's not forget the sound design.
Oh, the sound design is incredible.
Each dinosaur has its own distinct sound profile, from the guttural growls of the raptors to the earth-shaking roars of the T-Rex.
Iconic.
They just instantly transport you to that world and make the dinosaurs feel so real.
The sound design is absolutely crucial to the film's impact, I think. It creates a visceral experience for the viewer, immersing you in the world of the film and making you feel the raw power of these creatures. And then you layer on John Williams' score,
Yes.
this incredible blend of wonder and terror.
Oh, yes.
It just heightens every emotion, whether it's the awe of seeing a brachiosaurus for the first time,
Yeah.
or the sheer terror of being hunted by velociraptors.
It's like the score is the emotional backbone of the film.
It really is.
Yeah.
It tells you how to feel, when to be amazed, when to be afraid.
Yeah.
It's cinematic storytelling at its finest.
And what's so remarkable is that even though this film came out decades ago, it still holds up incredibly well today. Why do you think that is?
It's a testament, I think, to Spielberg's vision
Mm.
and those really timeless themes. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with CGI-heavy blockbusters, Jurassic Park is like this reminder that great storytelling, compelling characters, thought-provoking ideas are just as important as visual spectacle.
Yeah. And it's a film that works on multiple levels, right? It's thrilling and entertaining, but it also makes you think. Makes
Right.
you really question, the limits of our ambition and those consequences of tampering with the natural order.
It's got action-adventure suspense.
Yeah.
Even some genuine emotional depth with those character arcs.
Yeah.
But at its core, yeah, it's a cautionary tale about respecting nature's power.
Absolutely. It's like the film is holding up this mirror to humanity and saying, hey, take a good look at yourselves. Are you sure you're ready for this?
It's a message that's even more relevant today than it was back then, I'd
I
say.
think so too.
I mean, think about all the advancements we've made in genetics, artificial intelligence, climate engineering.
It's like we're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
But are we always considering the ethical implications? So what does this all mean for you, the listener? What are you taking away from this deep dive into Jurassic Park, I think? It challenges us to really think critically about the world around us, to question the motivations behind scientific progress, and to consider the potential consequences of our actions, both intended and unintended.
Jurassic Park really encourages us to engage in those tough conversations about where we draw the line. It's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll, prompting us to examine our own relationship with the natural world and the consequences of our pursuit of knowledge and power.
It makes you wonder, in a world where we're on the cusp of so many scientific breakthroughs, are we in a way creating our own Jurassic Park scenarios? Are we too eager to unlock nature's secrets without fully grasping the potential repercussions?
That's the real question the film leaves us with.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no easy answer. It's a cautionary tale, but it's also a celebration of wonder and discovery. Jurassic Park reminds us that the natural world is full of these awe-inspiring creatures and forces, and it's up to us to approach them with respect and humility.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it? The drive to explore, to understand, but also the awareness that some things might be better left undisturbed, or at the very least, approached with extreme caution and a deep sense of responsibility.
Exactly. Jurassic Park really serves as a powerful reminder that knowledge without ethical consideration can be a very dangerous thing. It's a film that continues to resonate with audiences because it taps into those deep-seated fears and anxieties about the consequences of unchecked scientific progress.
And it does all of that while delivering stunning visuals, heart-pounding action sequences, a score that gives you goosebumps every time. It's a true cinematic masterpiece that deserves to be revisited again and again, not just for the entertainment value, but for the deeper questions it poses about our place in the world.
Even after all these years, Jurassic Park really does stand as a testament to the power of practical effects, compelling characters, and thought-provoking themes. It's a film that reminds us that true wonder often lies not in dominating nature, but in understanding and respecting its power and complexity.
So next time you find yourself watching Jurassic Park, remember it's more than just a dinosaur adventure. It's a complex and layered exploration of human ambition, ethical responsibility, and the awe-inspiring beauty and potential danger of the natural world.
It's a film that sparks vital conversations and leaves a lasting impact on how we view our role in the grand scheme of things. Maybe it'll even inspire you to look around and ask yourself, what are the Jurassic Parks of our time? Are we paying attention to the warnings embedded in this cinematic masterpiece? Or are we headed for our own catastrophic encounter with the consequences of unchecked ambition?
That's definitely a question worth pondering. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Jurassic Park. We hope you've gained some fresh perspectives and maybe even a renewed appreciation for the film's enduring power. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the ideas that shape our world.